Lai Dadu had stood on his balcony, looking out at the cloudy sky. One of his attendants informed him that he was afraid it might rain that day and asked if they should still sail. Lai Dadu asked him why they shouldn't sail because it was only his hobby, as if he couldn't enjoy just one hobby. His attendant also informed him that a person from the Su family had visited once again. Lai Dadu turned to face his attendant, asking if she had returned and how much she had disliked the woman. He ordered his attendant to inform the woman that they were going to execute Cheng Dalei on that night and also not to bother him any longer. Lai Dadu told his attendant that he needed to hurry up and stop interfering with his enjoyment. Quite a number of spears appeared while the soldier yelled that they were going. Meanwhile, Su Lishi complained that she had been walking around so much every day for the past 2 days, and she had already gotten blisters on her feet. She asked someone to massage her feet, however, the person was reluctant. Su Lishi asked him if he had disliked her, to which the man answered that he hadn't dared. She sighed and told Gong Yong'ai that if people like them didn't help each other, there would be no one who would respect them as he held her feet. She went on to say that it was also because they were meant for the same thing, that when she saw her, she felt close to her in her heart, asking him not to take offense as she really saw him as her own brother. As Gong Yong'ai was massaging Su Lishi's foot, she told him to be gentler as she was hurt. She reminded him to be gentle on a woman's foot and asked him why he was holding her feet so tightly, as if he were a simpleton. Gong Yong'ai responded that since he was a child, he used to massage his mother's foot, to which Su Lishi asked him if he could also call him his mom. Gong Yong'ai blushed and didn't speak a word. Su Lishi grinned and wondered if what she was doing was what people with higher power could enjoy, and that once she had been the admired beauty. However, she had become the observer as she moved her hands towards Gong Yong'ai. As she twirled some of Gong Yong'ai's hair, she wondered if it was the kind of power some stinking men sought. She moved her hands, pinching his cheeks, with the thought of playing with people as if they were toys, which led her to the conclusion that it was fantastic. Meanwhile, at the Toad Village group, a man reported to Zhu Shenji that they had found out that Fang Boshan had left his residence and was heading to the pier. Zhu Shenji spoke up, telling them that the battle that day would be a sure victory, but it would also be bloody, and that because Cheng Dalei had treated them well, they couldn't bear seeing him suffer in prison any longer. He went on to say that after that day, he was afraid that he would not see many of them in the future, and if someone was afraid, he would not be for him. He suggested that they drink now, and that when they walked out the door, they would be brothers forever. A man voiced out asking what Zhu Shenji was talking about and that he could just say that they could lay down their lives for Cheng Dalei as he also did the same for them. The men agreed. They were told that they were going to drink wine together until it was empty and that they would go together to save Cheng Dalei as a firework swooshed into the air and made a huge bang in the sky. Fang Boshan noticed the fireworks and asked one of his subordinates why they were being set off in broad daylight. One of his subordinates asked Fang Boshan if he wanted him to send someone to take a look, to which Fang Boshan responded that there was no need for it, suggesting that they needed to pick up the pace as they would need to be faster. Zhao Zilong stood on top of one of the house roofs, holding a bow, watching them, while Liu Bei and Zhang Fei were hiding in an alley, watching Fang Boshan's movements. Qin Man and Lin Xiaoyu were doing the same on the other side. Anxious, Gao Fei Hu informed Zhu Shenji that they didn't have much time before Fang Boshan arrived at the port, and that their only problem was that the fireworks signal outside the city had yet to appear. He asked Zhu Shenji what they were going to do, informing him that waiting for Fang Boshan to arrive at the docks would be much more difficult than catching him on the roads. Frustrated, Zhu Shenji gritted his teeth and told them that they would wait for another 15 minutes, and if there was still no signal, they would attack. Gao Fei Hu tightly gripped his sword and said nothing. The cartwheel made a noise, and an arrowhead pointed towards Fang Boshan. Zhao Zilong concentrated, and the sound of a galloping horse was heard. 2 men rushed into the city and covered the gate with some sand smoke. One of Zhu Shenji's men informed him that 15 minutes had passed as Gao Fei Hu readied himself and held his sword. Zhu Shenji commanded them that they were going to do it and attacked. Gao Fei Hu and Gao Fei Bao screamed, ordering their men to attack. Sleeping, Fang Boshan's men were ordering their subordinates to stop the wagon, asking the man who had just entered the city who he was. He woke up from the noise of his men ordering the unknown man not to move, which made him wonder. Fang Boshan asked one of his men what was going on and told them they could just pursue his hobby in peace. Tai Dekyang, the man who had entered the city, introduced himself and asked to see Fang Boshan. Huang Sanyuan came running, asking his subordinates to stop. Gao Fei Bao asked Gao Fei Hu what Huang Sanyuan was doing and wondered if something had happened at the Toad Village. Huang Senyuan anxiously informed them that Cheng Dalei had been saved and that they could all stop now. Zhu Shenji was in disbelief and yelled, wondering if Yang Longting had given Cheng Dalei the title. Huang Senyuan told him that Cheng Dalei had received a title as one of the 2 generals of the Rangers, rewarded with 100 taels of silver, armor, a noble horse, and much more. He informed them that they had also received many promotions, like 100 chief lieutenants. However, Yang Longting had not yet appointed anyone for the position and had left Cheng Dalei for the decision. White Wolf asked if they didn't have anything to do after Cheng Dalei got the position. Huang Xinyan enthusiastically informed them that Yang Longting would never allow a temporary mistake to ruin a long-term plan, and that Kai Degang had gone to Fang Boshan to save Cheng Dalei. Dejected, Zhu Shenji sat in the corner contemplating, giving Huang Senyuan the impression that he was disappointed. Zhu Shenji spoke and told them that he could no longer talk about regrets, and that he had just drunk too much wine that went to his head, which made the people around him speechless. Fang Boshan asked Kai Degang if he wanted him to release Cheng Dalei. Kai Degang responded that it was Yang Longting who wanted Cheng Dalei released because he belonged to him and asked Fang Boshan not to kill him. Fang Boshan was in doubt and told Kai Degang that it had taken him great effort to catch Cheng Dalei, and if he released him, it wouldn't be easy to catch him next time. Kai Degang informed Fang Boshan that Cheng Dalei had sworn allegiance to Yang Longting long ago, and that Yang Longting had cherished him as a talent, and that there was no way he would appoint him a general out of all the rangers. He continued by saying that Cheng Dalei was now one of Yang Longting's people, and he asked Fang Boshan if he wanted to arrest some of Yang Longting's people, as well as if he hadn't tortured him in prison. Anxious, Fang Boshan felt nervous and thought that before Su Lishi came, he had asked the head of the prison to take care of Cheng Dalei. He believed that with the head's temperament, Cheng Dalei had at least one layer of skin peeled off if he hadn't died. Depressed, with snot coming down Fang Boshan's nose, he couldn't finish informing Kai Degang about Cheng Dalei's situation. Kai Degang was sweating heavily and yelled at Fang Boshan to take him to where Cheng Dalei was being held right at that moment. After some time, they arrived at some sort of a dungeon, where Kai Degang asked Fang Boshan if he was sure that Cheng Dalei was still alive. Still anxious, Fang Boshan reassured Kai Degang that he understood the people under him and believed that they had been gentle with Cheng Dalei. He hoped Cheng Dalei had a strong life force and must have been alive to the point where he could be saved. A man's voice mumbled about how much Du Mao was worth and how he should have been his equal, that the man from the Ring tribe had been strong enough to hold 3 out of 5 rounds against him in a horse fight. A couple of men inside the prison with Cheng Dalei asked him to tell them more about the method of the 5 thunderbolts, as they had heard that the gods had taught him in his dream. Cheng Dalei smiled and enthusiastically asked them if they could understand if he told them about the gods, while a bald man was all smiles serving him his meal. While Cheng Dalei stated that the method of the 5 thunderbolts had been too powerful for him to use easily because it destroyed too much, and proceeded to ask the soldier who had been serving him what they would be eating that day. A few delicacies were served. Disappointed by what had been served, Cheng Dalei asked if they could eat something milder, and that speaking of fish, he knew a way to eat fish raw, that if they dipped it in sauces, it would bring a wave of flavor. The men were amazed and told Cheng Dalei that he had seen a lot of things, to which he agreed. At the same time, Fang Boshan and Kai Degang arrived at Cheng Dalei's cell and were speechless. Fang Boshan tapped the prison guard's shoulder and asked him what it was all about, to which the guard turned to look at the man behind him. He responded to Fang Boshan that he had been the one who ordered him to take care of Cheng Dalei. Fang Boshan became enraged and told the guard that they had taken his orders literally and taken care of Cheng Dalei far too well. The two of them approached Cheng Dalei's cell, with Fang Boshan telling Cheng Dalei that if he had been careless, he would have made him suffer. They drew Cheng Dalei's attention, with him noticing Kai Degang first and telling him about how he had suffered over the previous few days. Kai Degang believed that Cheng Dalei hadn't suffered and that he had eaten much better than he had. Cheng Dalei asked who the man with Kai Degang was, and Kai Degang said he had been the local city lord, Fang Boshan. Fang Boshan cried and told Cheng Dalei that he had suffered enough. Cheng Dalei's face became serious as he remembered seeing Fang Boshan's name somewhere, and proceeded to ask him if they had ever met before. Fang Boshan grinned and told Cheng Dalei that he had admired him for a long time, believing that their meeting was fate, before turning to scold the prison guard for remaining standing and ordering him to open the cell door. Cheng Dale got out and pleaded with Fang Boshan to let his buddies out too. Fang Boshan clasped his hand and reassured Cheng Dale that he would immediately set his buddies free as his friends were also his. He informed Cheng Dale that Yang Longting had promoted him to one of the 2 generals of the Rangers and that the official uniform and military seal were in the city master's residence, and asked him if he had to go there with him. He went on and told Cheng Dale that it was now the time for him to wash the unhappiness out of his body as he had come out of such a place. As they came outside the prison, Cheng Dale stretched his arm in relief and mumbled that he had now tasted freedom. Disappointed, Fang Boshan spoke to the prison warden and asked him how much silver he had received, as it was hard for him to trick him as he was not foolish. He ordered the prison warden to call all the people who had taken the silver, as they needed to talk, to which the prison warden obeyed. Fang Boshan was enraged by the idea that he didn't get a single coin. However, his men all ate until their bellies burst, as he was like Kong Fangshin. After a while at the city lord's residence, Fang Boshan wondered if it was all of them. He yelled after learning that many people had received silver. Fang Boshan couldn't believe that from the smallest to the chief cook of the prison, to the military general Kaioi, and even the advisors at his side, they had taken Toad Village silver. He wondered if it was all about Cheng Dale's safety or their own lives. Meanwhile, at the city lord's mansion, back house, Cheng Dale felt satisfied while taking a bath, and after that, he was dressed by the 2 female attendants. They also combed his hair and tied his shoes. He mumbled, stating his title as General Cheng, and that his outfit fit him perfectly and was made specifically for him. Cheng Dale told his attendants that he used to buy clothes, and the attendant used to tell him he was handsome in his clothes and that they suited him. A man arrived behind Cheng Dale and called him. Cheng Dale turned and told Kai Gang that they would be colleagues from that moment. Kai Gang was with some company, passed Cheng Dale the enrollment papers, 100 taels of silver, and the official seal, along with the other rewards that Yang Longting wanted him to have. He went on to say that the official seal was specially made for him by Yang Longting and asked him if he liked it. Dejected, Cheng Dale couldn't speak a word as he saw a huge golden toad and wondered why there was a toad sitting on the official seal. Kai Gang asked Cheng Dale if he liked what Yang Longting had specially made for him, while Cheng Dale looked depressed. Cheng Dale took a deep breath and responded that he would ride into battle for Yang Longting even if he died. Fang Boshan wondered if Cheng Dale had such deep feelings for Yang Longting. He grinned and told Cheng Dale that in the last few days he had suffered enough, as it was like the flood had dashed against the temple of the Dragon King. He clapped his hands, ordering his men to come, and a few people appeared, bringing with them boxes. They lined up the boxes which contained a huge amount of silver, and Fang Boshan informed Cheng Dale that the silver had yet to be returned to him and his subordinates had eyes but failed to see. Cheng Dale responded by telling them that the silver was his gift to his friends because they had all been working hard lately, and he wanted them to divide it among themselves. Fang Boshan's men thanked Cheng Dale for his gratitude. Kai Gang was watching what was happening and wondered what Cheng Dale was greedy for, as he had never seen a mountain bandit who was not greedy for money. He reasoned that once everything was settled, they needed to get rid of Cheng Dale because such a person should never have been alive. Kai Gang was confused after he saw Cheng Dale and Fang Boshan whispering, to which Cheng Dale told Fang Boshan that he still had some personal matters he would like to talk to him about. They proceeded to whisper as Kai Gang watched them from behind. Cheng Dale walked and waved his hand behind as Fang Boshan told him that he had a good point, which left Kai Gang wondering. Kai Gang approached Fang Boshan and asked him what they had discussed, as Cheng Dale seemed happy. Fang Boshan responded that they had discussed nothing, as Cheng Dale had just asked him if he had access to female slaves that he could buy. He told Kai Gang happily that Cheng Dale was an interpersonal man, and it was said that he had been put in prison because of a woman. Kai Gang was disappointed and thought that Cheng Dale was just a pervert, believing that he was not greedy for money but greedy for sex. A moment later, Fang Boshan and Kai Gang were seeing off Cheng Dale in front of the gate. Fang Boshan asked him if he should send some people to take him back to the mountain, as he believed that it was a long way back, while Cheng Dale was petting his horse ride. Cheng Dale had told them that he didn't want to go back to the Toad Village just yet, as it was about time for his men to arrive. A group of people was seen walking towards them, stopped in front of the city lord's mansion gate. Cheng Dale's men had clasped both of their hands simultaneously and greeted him. Kai Gang and Fang Boshan, who were watching, wondered when so many people had sneaked into the Fallen Leaf City. Cheng Dale smiled and told his men that they should call him by his title, General Cheng, at that moment and ordered that they were going to get going. While trudging away, Cheng Dale sang a song in which he stated that he had also attended the Qianling banquet, ridden through the street in front of the palace gate, and that everyone had praised his beauty. Moments later, snow was seen falling, which meant the start of winter. Su Ying and Sioda were standing by the side of the road, and Sioda reassured her that she didn't need to worry because she had heard that they had released Cheng Dale, believing that he would return later. Su Ying's face was still gloomy. A second passed by and a galloping horse arrived. Cheng Dale stepped down from his horse and greeted Su Ying. Su Ying's eyes were wide open, and the umbrella that she was holding left her hands as she ran towards Cheng Dale. She hugged Cheng Dale, which he also did the same, and cried on his shoulders. Cheng Dale comforted her, assuring her that everything was fine, as they could go and do business now. Puzzled, Su Ying asked him what he meant, to which Cheng Dale responded that they were going to take back what belonged to her. Meanwhile, Su Lishi was taking off the clothes of Gong Yangai, asking him if the new clothes would fit him. Gong Yangai called Su Lishi madam, but was interrupted by her, telling him not to call her madam as she was only a few years older than him, and if he didn't mind, he could call her sister. Uncomfortable, Gong Yangai called Su Lishi Ru's sister. However, Su Lishi leaned close to him, noticing his scars and mumbling that he might have suffered a lot. She asked him if he could tell her the story of the scars. Gong Yangai recalled his time as a slave, which made his eyes bulge, and he could only remember blood. He told Su Lishi that they were just some ugly scars. Su Lishi chuckled and told Gong Yangai that she used to be just like him before, but they hadn't dared hurt her tender flesh. She was relieved that he was pure even if he was wounded, and asked him if he wouldn't look down on her for what she had said, to which Gong Yangai responded that he wouldn't dare to. Su Lishi leaned closer, making Gong Yangai blush as she asked him if he had ever touched a woman, to which he replied that he hadn't. She whispered in his ear and told him that she would help him find one, and that his body would be loved by women. Lai Dadu arrived anxiously and reported to Su Lishi that something big had happened. Su Lishi turned to him annoyed and asked him why he was yelling. Lai Dadu's face blackened as he informed Su Lishi that Cheng Dale had come to settle scores with them. Su Lishi inquired about the whereabouts of the guard and people, having been informed by Lai Dadu that everyone had fled due to Cheng Dale's beating. She was told to proceed to the main hall, where they had all gathered and were waiting for her. She cursed at them, stating that they were a bunch of scum. Upon arriving at the main hall, she was met by a group of men lined up on her left and right, with Cheng Dale sitting in front of her, and Su Ying beside him. Cheng Dale's men gazed at Su Lishi. Su Lishi spoke, asking Cheng Dale what he had been doing in her mansion again. Cheng Dale responded that he had come for the purpose of dividing the family property. He claimed that it was normal for him, as the Su family's son-in-law, to share the family fortune. Su Lishi gritted her teeth, wondering how a mountain bandit could talk about dividing the family fortune. Cheng Dale coughed, and Zhu Shenji, who was also sitting beside him with the official seal, told her to watch her language. He informed her that Cheng Dale was one of the 2 generals of rangers and asked her what she meant by calling him a mountain bandit. He told her to open her eyes and see the official seal, the title that had been bestowed upon Cheng Dale by Yang Longting. Cheng Dale was one of the 2 generals of rangers who led the battalion of Qingniu Mountain. Su Lishi was sweating, wondering how Cheng Dale, who was hated by everyone, had become a general. She told them that discussing the division of the family property was not impossible. However, she insisted that they must invite all the elders of the Su family to be present as witnesses. Cheng Dale smiled and assured Su Lishi not to worry. He claimed to have considered the matter and clapped his hands, ordering his men to bring in the elders. A group of dejected-looking men arrived as Cheng Dale announced that he had invited all the relatives to discuss the division of the family property. Su Lishi held the contract she had made with Su Ying and told them that she had been excluded from the Su family. Therefore, she had no right to demand a single penny from the family. However, as her mother, she couldn't bear to see her daughter suffer. She also informed them that 2 days ago, she had received a note indicating that Su Ying had taken 3,000 taels of silver from her and was prepared to relinquish all claims to the family property. She believed that they would understand this at a glance. Su Ying became agitated and yelled that Su Lishi was talking nonsense, as she hadn't received any silver from her at all. Su Lishi scoffed and asked Su Ying if she thought everyone present was as stupid as those who still had the receipt. One of the elders took the note and informed the crowd that the date and fingerprint could be confirmed, as he realized that the handwriting was indeed from Su Ying. Su Ying was being consumed by agitation while listening to the elders. They mentioned that the note also had the name of the city lord Fang Bashan as a witness on it. She wondered if Fang Bashan was truly a witness, as the elder assured them that the reference was true and not fake. Su Lishi smiled, thinking that Su Ying was still too young, and wondered if she had come that day to discuss the family fortune. Cheng Dalei grabbed Su Ying's wrist, causing her to look at him and notice the smile he held on his face. Su Lishi passed the note to Cheng Dalei, telling him to take a look. Cheng Dalei told her to address him as General Cheng. He warned that if she treated him like a mountain bandit again, he might consider it an insult to the empire. He slammed the note, creating a loud bang sound. Su Lishi's eyes narrowed as she asked Cheng Dalei if he didn't want to read the note. Cheng Dalei responded that he didn't need to read the note, as for him, it didn't matter. Anxious, Su Lishi asked him why it didn't matter, to which Cheng Dalei told her in an aggressive tone that if he said it didn't matter, then it didn't, and there was no reason why. Su Lishi's face darkened as she told Cheng Dalei that she feared Fang Bashan wouldn't agree. She ordered Lai Dadu to bring Fang Bashan as a witness, to which Lai Dadu quickly obeyed. Cheng Dalei took a sip from his cup and advised Su Lishi not to bother, stating that even if she invited Fang Bashan, he would not come. Lai Dadu quickly ran and passed through the Su residence gate. After some time, he came back, catching his breath and sweating. Su Lishi asked him what was going on and where Fang Bashan was. Lai Dadu was catching his breath and sweating as he informed Su Lishi that he didn't even see Fang Bashan's face. He just sent him a message. And the message's content was that there was no reason why Su Ying should not inherit the family property when her father died, which caused Su Lishi's eyes to widen. Again, Su Lishi's face darkened, and she thought that everything was gone in the end. She believed that it was such a moronic reason that there was no reasoning without power. She clenched her fist and thought that it had turned out that in the world there was only one truth that was unchangeable, and whoever had more power was also right. Su Lishi asked Cheng Dalei if she could talk to him alone, to which Cheng Dalei responded, why couldn't they talk at the same place? Su Lishi told him that there were some things she would like to share with him in private, which made Cheng Dalei think, and later on, he agreed. They arrived in an empty room, as Cheng Dalei asked her what she wanted to say. Su Lishi bowed and knelt, telling Cheng Dalei that at the moment she had felt like a little bird in his hand, that he could easily take her life by crushing her or let her live by giving her some rice to eat. She looked at Cheng Dalei as she begged him to spare a few grains of rice in her life, as what she had been only looking for was just stability, and in the future she would not regret anything even if she had to be a slave.